Welcome to this step-by-step watercolor tutorial where I will be guiding you through painting a beach landscape. Today's subject is Siesta Key in Florida. If you are a Facebook subscriber, you can download the sketch. And here is a list of the materials I used. It would be great to have you join me, so grab your materials and let's paint watercolors. Using a quill number 8, I have some clear water at the top. And then our Scarlet Lake with Windsor Yellow mixture. And then we go into the Windsor Yellow and marry those two together, come down to the horizon line. It doesn't matter about going over the bank on the left-hand side, that's fine. And go over the trees and the distant sailing boats. Then I've strengthened the yellow in the sky before going on to the very top with the cobalt blue. As you know, that was previously just clear water. I'm still using the mop brush, the equivalent of mop brush, a quill number 8. Then go into your flat brush, maybe a half size, and have tissue to hand so you can take off any excess and maintain control. And I'm having the clouds give a certain shape there, sort of coming down at an angle towards where we have the burst of light, just to make it a little bit more interesting on this occasion. And we'll have a few distant clouds at the horizon level, but nothing too strong on this occasion. You may, of course, choose to do otherwise. You may follow the general principles of this painting, but vary your colors and intensity, etc. Because all these tutorials are meant to help you with learning the techniques which you then use with your paintings, as well as following the tutorial and producing this exact painting as close as you can get it. But as you know, it only takes a tiny amount of extra pigment or water to make a big difference to the final result. Dry that off with a hairdryer. Then I'm using a stiff brush, one that's used for acrylics and oils, and I've cut a few of the hairs off so that I can use it to lift where the sun is. Clear water, then tissue, and lift. Then for the ocean, I'm using a flat brush at the moment, and you will see there's a little bit of wave action going on, not too much, just a little. And now this is quite strong at the moment, but it will lighten once we dry it off. And much later, when it's dry, I can run some clear water on it and lift with a tissue to get it to the value that I'm aiming for, so I can lighten it. You could argue, well, why didn't you have it lighter in the first place? Well, that's a good point, but as I mentioned, it takes a tiny amount of pigment to make a big difference. You don't always know at first how it's going to be, and therefore you can lift later if it is a little bit too strong. So we've got the waves going on now, darker at the bottom. Sometimes you get a little bit of green as the light passes through those waves. So you can resort to a much smaller brush for accuracy when doing these. And you see me mixing up some darker versions, so sort of a bluey grey colour, so that I can show some of the reflections on the ocean from those various clouds, but in a subtle way, nothing too detailed. Okay, I think that's shaping up. Now for the beach, I've added a little bit of yellow ochre to the Windsor yellow, just to make it a little bit more intense. Bearing in mind that we do have the sun bouncing off the wet sand on the beach. So we want that colour to come through and to be quite intense compared to a time of day when the sun would be higher and perhaps the beach has dried out. But this is early in the morning, sunrise, as I mentioned. Waves have been up, right up on the beach, and the sand is still drying out. So that's coming together quite well. And whilst it's wet, I'm dropping in some of that bluey grey colour. Start at the bottom and then just come up just a little way. Do not lose that all that light area. And then you often see on the beach, you've got some vertical lines, especially when we're dealing with wet sand, where we've got them being reflected, the clouds being reflected on the beach. And sometimes you'll see them in streaks like this. So we'll have some going that way, vertical, and then we'll have others which will be horizontal. And I do want to drop in a little bit more color whilst it's still wet from the sky there, because we've got that combination of Windsor yellow and Scarlet Lake in the sky, and I want that reflected on the wet sand. So it's coming together quite well. Over halfway through, and here are some of those vertical lines now, using that flat brush again for accuracy. It's a little bit more intense further up the beach, the colour, as it's not so wet and deeper sand and dried out somewhat. Okay, now I'm going to do some lifting of the sun reflection on the beach itself, using that stiff brush again. And this paper, Arches 300-pound rough, 11.5 by 7.5 inches, is very robust. So it enables us to do that quite effectively. Now I'm mixing up some greens because we have lots of trees to do and bushes and so forth, palms, palmettos and all that. And we have some light red as well, with either some blue or some Payne's grey for the trunks of the trees. I would suggest doing those first, because then later when you do the foliage behind or the bushes, etc., you can dry those off first and paint around them. I resorted to a very fine round brush with a good point for the palms so that I can maintain accuracy and get them as thin as possible. So do remember that they're on the beach, so they're weather beaten and so forth. And also, at the top of the tree there, at the top of the trunk, where it meets the palms, there's often a few dying off, that browned, etc. So remember to drop in a couple of those for realism. We jumped ahead because that's repetition of those palms, and now doing some of the work for the various bushes and shrubs, etc., palmettos, etc., all behind them on the bank. That bank and the palms serves also a useful purpose to the viewer because it acts as a prop. It means your eye doesn't go out of the painting in that area. It pushes you back in. And the direction of a couple of the palms leaning over also helps push the viewer's eye into the painting. Oh, I've jumped ahead again because there's so much repetition going on that bank of dunes, etc. And now we can do some detail on the sailing boats. So just a dark hole on this occasion, so it shows up quite well. Your choice of colours, but then red sails and a blue sail on the other one. That's what I've chosen. And you can lighten it again with tissue to get the value you're aiming for. Now, I have not on this occasion shown a reflection of the sails in the ocean, but you may wish to choose to. But just if you do, make it very subtle, just a tiny amount as an indication. And you may see on the final painting that I might add it in later. That's the sort of thing that you give attention to at a later time. Once you've completed most of the painting, you don't want to overdo it, so you put it aside. Several hours later, you look at it again or the next morning and make those decisions. It's easier to add than it is to take away. All right, a few little birds in the sky for a little bit of movement and action. Just 5 on this occasion, using a tiny brush. And now neatening up a couple of areas with regards to the wave action, where we got a couple of particularly odd shapes. Just lifting those and then going over with the blue. And here we are, a finished painting. I hope you have a go at this one. I think you can learn a great deal from it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.